The IPA BAS Practitioner Program is designed for BAS practitioners and new members of the IPA, specifically to help IPA members make a success of running their business and be better BAS practitioners. The program is made up of 10 modules available on demand. There is also an online workbook which helps participants apply the content to their own businesses. Completion of the program entitles you to claim CPE hours. This is an overview of our BAS Practitioner Program. You'll find that some modules apply more to your business than others. However, we have made a point of keeping material relevant for both the sole practitioner and the company set to grow. Each of our businesses are unique, and this is encouraged and acknowledged throughout the program. So let's look at some highlights. The yellow modules address business strategy or our plan of action. The tangerine modules are about our people, and the pink modules cover process. So let's have a closer look and break that down. Today we're looking at the best business strategy and what that is and what that means for us. And then in our next module, we'll discuss in detail how we can make sure that we love our business and that we stay motivated to continue growing our business, or even just to continue working in our business. Module number 3 is quite exciting because it helps us to find our competitive edge by innovating our business model. And in the light of all the changes in our industry lately and the way that we have quite a modern and vibrant industry, that is a really exciting module to address and to workshop your own business under the model and the tools that we cover in Module 3. Module 4 is about the different financial stages that you might come across in your business and how you can get through the tough times and find financial stability through a good financial plan. And then once we've covered those 4 modules, you will have a really great idea about what your business plan is going to be. And we can move on to a different section covered in the tangerine coloured modules 5 to 8. And these are all about the people that you might meet. So the role of people in your business could be the way you work with your customers and how they perceive you, and also how you might attract more clients to your business. So when you have lots of customers, then you might decide that you need more people to look after those customers, and we discuss the important decisions related to building a strong team. We also have a good look at modern sales functions. So sales used to be quite traditionally an area that we as bookkeepers maybe aren't as excited to get involved in. We hate that idea that we might become a bit salesy. But in the modern industry and in a world where now the sales function has changed quite a bit, we can have a look at different ways where the sales function can be something that we feel comfortable with and relax into, and how we can make it work for us. So that's the idea of that. We also cover brand and marketing, which are 2 very distinct things. And we discuss the best order for creating our brand and then delivering our marketing to our audience, fitting in with the latest technology. And we know that the role of automation is really having a big impact in the bookkeeping world. And so we look at whether automation is going to impact us as bookkeepers, whether our roles will stay relevant, and how we can make sure that we're not losing touch of the way that processes are important to our business model. Then we also have a look at planning for growth. So growth is a really important stage, but processes and having good processes also help us to stabilize. And stabilizing is a phase just as important as a growth phase. So we will address the value that this also brings to your business. So let's begin with Module 1, the creation of your business strategy. So where do you start when you're developing your business strategy? How do you develop a business plan that you'll love? And even how do we know that we can successfully execute our business plan? What we want to do to start is just have a look at what brought us all to this place. What do we have in common? And if we first look at what we have in common, I think that's a good place to start, then breaking things down further in the light of our business strategy. So, who we are, we're probably all in a very similar position here. We're all BAS agents. And we each maybe followed a slightly different path to become a BAS agent. As I ran a company myself up in Sydney, and I had 10 employees at one stage before I sold my business, I had to be registered as a company BAS agent. More recently, I sold my business and I no longer had any registered BAS agents as employees. So I needed to go down the path of being registered as an individual BAS agent. And the way that I got there was through a very old bookkeeping certificate qualification that I had, and then more recently, a master's in business. So no doubt you followed your own path to becoming a BAS agent. The other thing that we do have in common is that we're all IPA members. And of course, the commonality between those two things is that our qualifications would make us either bookkeepers or accountants. So we know that as a group, collectively, that's who we are. And what we want to have a look at briefly as well is what we do. So compliance is part of that, whether that be data entry, whether it be tax returns that we're lodging for our clients at the end of the year, and all kinds of other record keeping that we perform for our clients. Also, sometimes we take that to a different level and we offer advisory services for our clients. We might have strong qualifications either with business consulting maybe, or of course some kind of accounting degree that helps us advise on accounting law. That can also stretch quite often into technical consulting, where perhaps we train our clients in how to use the software that they need to run their businesses. It might be their accounting software, but often that means other types of software that they use for their business, such as if they're a retail business, maybe they need some kind of POS system that we can research for them. We can offer them some advice about which one to use. We can implement it for them. And then once we've implemented it, we might find we even train them and their staff members to use that system. Now, the other thing as a broad group that we all do is we meet people in our working environment. We're not usually stuck at home in our offices, even though that might be a big part of our role, being stuck in our office environment. And I shouldn't use the word stuck because I know some of us love that. That's the ideal situation where we can quietly work from our office. But of course, we all meet people. We need to introduce ourselves to new clients and we need to keep relationships going with our clients. So that's something that we all have in common as well. So let's break that down. What does it mean to be an individual BAS agent? Of course, we need to register with the Tax Practitioners Board, and they supply the requirements, and here's a list of those. And we can see that we need to be at least 18 years of age, a fit and proper person according to their definition, and we need to satisfy the qualification and experience requirements. We'll break those down a little bit in a moment. And we need to maintain some professional indemnity insurance that meets their requirements as well. Just for your information, it doesn't need to be your own professional indemnity insurance if you're, for example, employed. You can instead provide the details of your employer's insurance. and that generally is enough to satisfy the TPB. So let's have a look at the qualifications, the summary of qualifications that we might need. For example, one of them would be solely based on your tertiary qualifications in accounting. And the major difference with that one is that then you need 1,400 hours of relevant experience in the past 4 years. Whereas if you are already a member of a professional association such as the IPA, then your relevant experience is reduced a little bit. You don't need the full 1,400 hours. 1,000 hours is enough to satisfy the TPB's requirements in the past 4 years. But as for the rest of the requirements, they're the same. So we need at least a certificate in financial services, bookkeeping or accounting. So for myself, I had quite an old, I think it was 2003 bookkeeping qualification. And then more recently, I completed a master's in admin in business. And so that master's together was almost enough to satisfy the TPB that I could be a BAS agent. But I needed to do one more thing before they allowed me to be approved, and that was I needed to also complete a GST course, a board-approved course, GST and payroll as well. So I completed those in order to be able to gain my individual BAS agent qualification. So you can see there, if you are a member of a professional association, a voting member, that changes the relevant experience required, and we already mentioned the difference there. Now, what about if you want to be a company BAS agent or a company or partnership BAS agent? And this is actually the path that I had always taken before I sold my business. So because I had so many employees, I was able to have one of those employees or more as the supervising BAS agent, and they had the ability to prepare any BAS returns, but also to supervise the other bookkeepers that were preparing those returns as well. And these are the areas that we need to satisfy, again, according to the TPB. So in this case, each director or partner must be at least 18 years of age as well as a fit and proper person. The company or the partnership must maintain professional indemnity insurance. And they also must have a sufficient number of registered individual BAS agents or tax agents employed by the company. The company must not be under external administration or have been convicted of a serious offence involving fraud or dishonesty during the previous 5 years. So there we go, that kind of covers off on what it means to become a BAS agent. So what about being a member of the IPA? Well, there are different types of membership. It's probably something you've recently looked into yourself. And we know that we could be an associate of the IPA, a member, or a fellow of the IPA. And the difference really comes down to our experience and education in the industry. And this leads, of course, to a different level of recognition in the industry as well. So something that the IPA has recently developed is an IPA practice certification. And this is a certification that we refer to as the Public BAS Practitioner. Something that you're all interested in getting and that you will be able to achieve by completing this Public BAS Practitioner Program. So as long as you're a BAS agent, as long as you have professional indemnity insurance and you complete this 10-module Public BAS Practitioner Program, you will achieve the certification of being a Public BAS Practitioner. So that's something the IPA offers us to help us be recognised within our industry. Now, along with this, when we are a member of the IPA, there are a lot of benefits that we receive, and perhaps we've already experienced some of these benefits. And they're all designed and set up so that we can be better professionals and help our businesses to succeed. Now, one of the really great things that we have is the opportunity for networking, which can't be underestimated when we're trying to make a success of our business. So that was really good to do that little bit of, take a look at what we have in common. All of us as a group have those things in common. That's what's helped us to arrive at this place. But we also want to look at some time looking at what we do differently or what makes each of us unique from the next bookkeeper. So let's spend some time focusing on you. And we can see here that we want you to imagine yourself in the picture as we continue to workshop your business. You'll get the chance to specifically apply what we're learning to your business through the online workbook that you can complete, and we encourage you to complete that as you go. So let's start with the basics and first define what our business strategy is. We can see that it has been defined before as a plan of action, which I think is a good way to describe our business strategy. And the plan of action is designed to achieve a particular goal or a set of goals or objectives. And that helps to keep us on track. If we have no plan of action, then it's quite likely that we will kind of stumble along doing our work from week to week, but we might not necessarily achieve our plan of action. So it's a well-known fact that many people in business don't have a plan, but perhaps you've spent a lot of time thinking about creating a plan, some kind of business plan, or you might have a business plan, but you haven't yet written it down. It's kind of something that whirls around in your head, and you generally know what your business plan is. So what we want to do with this BAS Practitioners Program is give you the opportunity to distill your own business plan, to summarize it, maybe to write it down. That's what we'd hope that you'd be able to do. And for it to help us all be better BAS practitioners and better professionals. So, what is the best business strategy? To answer this, we need to take a step back and spend some time first on a slightly more personal analysis. And don't worry, I'm not going to launch into a Myers-Briggs assessment or some other psychoanalytical tool. It's not that kind of self-analysis. But it will require some kind of self-analysis. And this is because the best business strategy is the best business strategy for you. So let me expand a bit on that thought. Throughout this BAS Practitioners Program, we will review current business theory and we will look at some practice analysis tools, insightful tools, and you'll have the opportunity to workshop them and apply them to your business. So we definitely want to make sure that what we're learning in this course is based in good business theory. However, using those tools won't result in us all coming up with the same best strategy as if the industry only allows for one best practice business model. That's just not the case. There is no one best strategy, and that's because the best business strategy is the best one for you. So within our industry, we know that we all do similar things. We've looked at that already. We're all bookkeepers and accountants and advisors, and we all offer compliance. We can be trainers and consultants, and sometimes we're a few of those. We cross over and fall into many of those categories. Now, along with that, where we come from and what we are and what we have in common that way, we also operate in various ways. Some of us, of course, will be sole traders. Some of us will be in partnerships or companies. And even more recently, it's a growing trend to work in cooperatives. So the services that our entities offer is also a long list. And I guess the point we're making here is that we are all unique. We all have different things that we offer, and there's a broad range of activities that we all offer. And really, this exemplifies the great thing about our industry at the moment, and that is that at this point in time, it's a really vibrant and healthy industry, and it's full of potential. So that means that businesses operating within our industry are able to diversify and take full advantage of all of this potential. So I guess the question that we want to ask is, how are you going to take advantage of our vibrant industry? And how will your strategy be defined and different to the next bookkeepers or the next BAS practitioner? And of course, importantly, how do we know that your strategy will even work? So that's why it's important that we start with some self-analysis. So we really ask you to complete this step thoroughly and consider this a chance to workshop you and your business. The other reason why that is important is that we're going to keep coming back to this throughout these 10 modules, this place where you've had a chance to do this self-analysis, because the things that you decide are important to you in this module, they will relate to all future modules and make all the future modules, even the ones that are more theoretical, it will make them more important and more relevant to you and your business. So, are you ready to start your workshop? We will first ask you to analyze your motivation for starting your own business. And then we'll look at the resources that you have available to you. And after that, we'll also ask you to consider which opportunities are available to you. We must look at all three of these areas as the place where all of those overlap. As you can see here, is the place where you will form your unique strategy. So if your strategy is created in the place where these three things intersect, you will have a business strategy that you love, because it will be linked to your motivation for starting a business in the first place. Your strategy will also be one that you have the capacity to implement, because it will be based on actual resources that you have available to you. And most importantly, this business strategy that you create will be able to succeed because you'll be able to link the opportunities that you decide to take. They will be linked back to these other areas. So you will be able to succeed in executing your business strategy. So let's kind of apply this and break it down a bit. Imagine that one of your business motivations was that you wanted to grow your business. You'd love to have a team. But then when you look at your resources, you might realize that it's not one of your strengths. Maybe you're not that much of a people person. So if you do want to make this part of your strategy or plan of action, you would need to pull in other resources that you don't currently have. Maybe a partner who was good at the team building side of things. So we can see that our motivation needs to match up with our resources, and then we need to choose opportunities that fit in with those as well. So that's what we're aiming to do, and to analyze and to make sure will work for you in today's module. And let's start with your motivation. So a good question to ask yourself, especially when you're completing your workbook, is why are you setting up your own business? What do you want to achieve? So it's so important we ask ourselves this question, because it's easy to get caught up in running our business, and it's easy to lose track of what is important to us. We can kind of let our business control us rather than staying in control of our business. So, when I was in practice, one of the things that I did was work with a lot of other bookkeepers and accountants as somebody who helped them implement a practice management solution, but also as a mentor to other bookkeeping companies. And many times I would hear a bookkeeper say one of these things. They repeated it over and over again. It was, I don't have enough hours in the week to keep up with my work. Or, I would earn more money if I went back to being employed. And quite often I also heard bookkeepers say, what's a holiday? I haven't taken time off for as long as I can remember. So those are all examples of our business controlling us. And, it's not something we need to feel guilty about or bad about. It is something very common to our industry and probably a lot of different industries, but definitely to our industry where we're often self-employed. Now, in this industry, we seem to put up with this as a matter of course. And maybe the reason is that we've forgotten why we started a business in the first place. And maybe we didn't even clarify that enough in the first place. So that's why we first want to analyze our reasons for starting our own business so we can clearly understand and track them. And if we have them clearly defined, we can then compare them with our business strategy, and then we'll have a business plan that we love. So what did motivate you to start your own business? I know for me that we're going back 15 years or so here. I really was unhappy in my employment situation. I felt underappreciated, and I knew in my heart that I'd be able to do a great job of running my own bookkeeping business. I'd be able to help my friends that couldn't do their own bookkeeping, and I'd be able to make more money than I was as an underappreciated employee. So I guess that fell into the category of doing what I love, being my own boss. I really felt that desire to take control of my work situation and also to be more profitable. So what about you? Do you want to have the opportunity to be more creative with your work? Were you feeling that things were a bit dull in your old situation? Or perhaps you wanted more flexibility. You wanted to work part-time, to have the opportunity to be in control of the hours that you worked and maybe take some of the pressure off. I know that a lot of corporate jobs may be well paid, but they also expect their pound of flesh and can be highly stressful. So all of these reasons are very valid reasons for starting your own business. As we progress in running our business, though, we can forget about these reasons. And as mentioned in the previous slide, our business can start to take control of us. So let's revisit these reasons and write them down, as mentioned again. So another thing that I feel to be a really valid point is that when I first started my bookkeeping business, I was a small enterprise. It was just me, and I didn't want to work by myself for long, so I very quickly employed someone else, but it was just the two of us for a while. And, my reasons were just to improve my work situation for a long time. But then when I took that next step and decided I'd back up my career with a better education, and I decided to get my MBA, what I found is I wanted to put a lot of what I was learning into practice. And so my motivations changed again. I wanted to build a team and I wanted to be successful. So I found that my motivations have changed over the years. And yours might have as well. So put all of those reasons down in your workbook. They're all really good to keep in mind. And they all capture what it is that we want and what we need to build into our business plan to make it something that we love. So the next part of developing your business strategy, we're going to move on from your motivation and look at your resources. And don't forget that you are one of your best resources. So let's take some time to analyze your own strengths and weaknesses. And we'll do that, such as our example here, by listing a simple strengths and weaknesses analysis, where we have a look at you as a person or you as a professional and list all of your strengths and things perhaps that you think might be your weaknesses as well. So in this example, we can see that our sample person has a positive attitude, good communication skills, great technical learning ability, and they have this ability to keep the big picture in mind, which can be very valuable for a client that needs an objective point of view, perhaps. But that same person might also be aware of some of their weaknesses, such as poor time management, not very details oriented. Maybe they make a few data entry errors regularly, or maybe they just get bored with the details. And perhaps another weakness would be that they're uncomfortable with change, that maybe they get stuck in a rut. So this is a really great sample of our strengths and weaknesses as an individual. But then what is also important when we're taking stock of our resources is to look at all of our resources, not just us as an individual, but as a company or a business, an entity. What are the total sum of our strengths and weaknesses? And this is where we can look to our existing customers and say, all right, we've got really good customer loyalty. And perhaps another strength is our peer network, that we've got other people that we can get in touch with and ask for advice and draw on their experience of running their own businesses. The IPA is a great example of that. We have this brilliant peer network, and we can catch up with the other IPA members and get some advice and help when running our businesses. So another one of your resources might be that you have a unique approach or a product or service. And if you can build a unique product offering or service, then that's a big part of your business strategy. And we will look at that independently in one of our future modules as well, building a unique product. So I guess the key point here is if you want to make your business strategy succeed, it needs to line up with your current resources. Or another way of making our business strategy succeed is to have a way to supplement your weaknesses. Can you hire someone who is strong in your weak area? And I know I've shared a few of my own personal experiences so far, but the truth was that I was full of ideas, but I struggled sometimes to carry them through to the end. So in the end, I found that it was a great idea to just employ people that were good at this. And I found a general manager who really quickly implemented my ideas. She got them, she was positive about them, but she was also really good at implementing them. And that led to profit for our business. So that was another way of filling out our resources so that they were more balanced. So once again, just to emphasize the point, we look at our motives and we compare them with our resources, and there'll be a point where they cross over, and that's where we start to pull our ideas from for our business strategy. So let's talk just for a moment about the third part of our business strategy, and that is our opportunities. So the bookkeeping industry is vibrant and full of opportunity. There have been changes that mean we have a chance to grow our businesses and to specialize or to add different kinds of services such as consulting or advisory services. Maybe they're cloud-based services. I've added on to our sample here that cloud bookkeeping is a really great opportunity, one that I'm sure you've come across in the last few years. So I already mentioned that I'm a person who loves to think of new business ideas. However, this often meant that I started working on a new idea before I'd really completely finished my last one. And I found that my team was inspired, but soon they became frustrated, unfortunately. And the reason for that is we were spread thin and learning new things all of the time. And it kind of felt like we were always in this learning or startup phase, and we weren't becoming efficient, which means that we weren't maximizing profit. So there's kind of a warning sign to thinking about your opportunities as well. I know that a lot of people that start their own business have a very entrepreneurial spirit. However, maybe like me, they can be full of ideas that don't always get fully implemented. So we really need to choose our opportunities carefully. So what I'm not saying is that we should ignore new opportunities. Don't get me wrong, it's really positive to remain flexible and seize good opportunities as they arise. And in fact, having that kind of attitude where we're always open to something new and spotting a good opportunity, that in fact will be, in the end, the key to our success. But to avoid change burnout, we need to be clear about choosing opportunities. And the idea is that we're analytical about it. We're actually going to, in a future module, look at a tool that helps us to analyze our opportunities, compare them to the market, and compare them to our own resources and motives at the same time. But for now, it's enough that we agree that business strategy needs to match our strengths and resources and be compatible with our motivation for starting our business. So I know I've emphasized that a lot today, but it is the key message, and we will come back to it a few times as we proceed. So it does need to be part of our overall plan. And let's also keep in mind that following all opportunities that we see will water down our plan and make it weak. So now we've had the time to analyze our motivation for starting our business, list our available resources, and we've also just started thinking about some of our opportunities. Where do we go from here? Well, there are 9 more modules to follow, which will help us workshop our entire business in depth. And here they are again. Now remember, they can be broken into 3 areas. The yellow section is all about our plan of action. And we've only covered today that first out of 4, which is what is the best business strategy. We know it's one where we analyze ourselves and look at how we can fit in to our business strategy. But there's also a section on the people that we meet in our business, our stakeholders, and how they relate to our plan. And then, of course, our process and how we can become more efficient through better processes, and we can scale our business as well. So today you built the foundation for your plan of action, and over the next few modules, you'll continue to develop your business strategy. As we cover these modules, we will refer to your online workbook so that you can workshop your own business throughout. And we anticipate that that workshop will be a valuable reference for you now and as you continue as a BAS practitioner. So please make an effort to complete that after today's workshop. We look forward to seeing you for our next module, Creating a Business That You Love. And in the next module, we'll look at defining your core values and purpose and how they help us with that sense of direction. And also setting motivational short-term and aspirational long-term goals and how we choose them. This program has been written by Tina Kay in collaboration with the Institute of Public Accountants.